This is Boxing Tickets NI. We are here at the famous Holy Trinity Boxing Gym and delighted to be joined by one of the newest pros on the circuit, Barry McReynolds. How are you, Barry?
Yes, all good. Good to finally get an interview with you.
Definitely. Obviously, I only focus so much now on obviously professional boxing. Obviously, if I focused on professional and amateur boxing, I would never have a moment in the day. So I sort of made a conscious decision at the very start to focus on the pros. So for me, obviously, it's probably getting to know you, and obviously, I guess you probably will be looking forward to the end of this interview. But like, I seen a clip that obviously STN put up, and you were sort of saying, I'd never really focused on sort of the Olympics. Sort of pro was always the route you wanted to go to. So at this stage, you're probably delighted, but at the same time, you're still probably neutral to the fact of what's to come.
Yeah, that's it. I've always wanted to go pro. I've had a long amateur career. The last few years of my amateur career, it was just sort of in and out, training for a month, not training for a month, going into fights, when I probably wasn't really training, but still winning, But no, the last 6 months I've really put my head down. And I said to Michael, told him I wanted to go pro. And for 6 months, I haven't missed a day of training, trained flipping every single day. Really focused. It's what I want to do.
Going obviously right back, like, is there any history obviously in the family of boxing? Like, what first got you into boxing in the first place?
No, there's no history. Like, my dad boxed when he was a kid, but not at any level. Like, but my dad, they brought me to the boxing club when I was 9. I actually boxed for St Paul's for the first 3 years. Won 2 Irish titles with them, before I came to Holy Trinity. Then I've boxed here ever since, from I was 12 to now.
What obviously got you in the change of gyms? Was it sort of, like, it doesn't take probably anybody with a lot of know-how or common sense. Obviously, the big history at obviously Holy Trinity, 51 years sort of gyms going for. Was it the improving standard? Obviously, what was it, switching gyms at that stage?
Yeah, as I say, I always think you need someone to look up to, in the gym. And when I moved here, there was likes of Sean McComb, Cameron Cummings, Mark O'Hara, Roy Dalton, like the list goes on, And, but that, there's still, and St Paul's was a great club too, I had the likes of James Tennyson and Brendan Irvine there too, but just thought it was time for a move.
Seems to be obviously at every amateur gym, in Belfast, like, was there 11 or 14 gyms within a couple of mile radius? Like, every gym has always been stacked with talent as amateurs, and like, you get lost in here for a couple of hours looking around all the accolades here. It's probably one of the most successful gyms in the whole of Ireland, and you've 6 Irish titles here, is that correct? So you 2 in St Paul's, 6.
2 in St Paul's, yeah. Boy won 2 in St Paul's. Then ever since, I've 6 here, yeah.
And like, amateur boxing, obviously, I guess it's so different now. I was speaking to somebody earlier on doing an interview, and I was saying, like, amateur boxing is so different to what pros is nowadays. We even look at the Olympics, obviously just passed there. Like, they're 2 completely different sports. How did you find growing up in the amateurs? Obviously, bad decisions and things like that. Like, were you a bad loser?
I'd say amateur, it has its highs and lows. Michael Hawkins, he said to me the other day, what your parents think about going pro, and I was sort of like, they were a wee bit iffy. They've always supported me throughout my whole career, but like, when I says about going pro, they were a wee bit like, do you reckon it's the right move? You've been boxing your whole life. They have seen the lows, of my amateur career, like, because your coaches might see you in the club, but they don't see you when you go home, after a bad decision, or you're making weight, and you're landing in a bath, damn. That's your parents see you, like, flipping in tears and heartbroken. But so, because I wasn't boxing there for a few years, they were like, oh, this is great. But now when I told them I'm going pro, they weren't too happy, like, but they're starting to come around to it.
What was it, obviously, the last couple of years that you weren't boxing so much? I think you were, 3 years out of the ring? What was it? Was it a decision you weren't happy, amateurs?
Sort of a bit of both, there's only really 2 competitions, like the Ulsters and the Irish. And if you're, if you're not really training, or you have a holiday or something and you miss one of them, then you've only got one more, then there just wasn't enough activity for me. and I was working too. Started, well, a few years ago, started doing an apprenticeship plumbing. So I was working late nights, you know, and it's hard to get to a club, and just there was a lot of things, but I got everything sort of worked out now, you know, with times and work, and so everything just, boxing's just the number one focus.
It's sometimes it takes that, you know, obviously, you know, not everything comes plain sailing in life and even in boxing. Like, sometimes you have to go through these hard moments, you know. Probably maybe a good example of McComb, obviously in the Olympics, gets robbed in a decision, he then finishes up amateur boxing. Like, you can have good moments and bad moments, but you have to go through the bad times to sort of find the good times. Like, it's probably give you that going pro now, is giving you that new energy, that new lease of life, and probably feels like day one boxing again for you.
Oh, it really does. It does. Like, every last few years amateur, you know, I wasn't enjoying it really. Like, it was a dread coming to the club, but now I'm literally flipping, can't wait to go, you know, come into work straight in the club. You know, even if I'm half an hour early, just to get down, you know, because I just can't wait. Even if it's just sitting, skipping just until the session starts, just like a new lease of life for it.
Growing up, obviously, as an amateur, obviously everybody looks up to people. Like, who was your sporting idols in boxing, obviously growing up, and has it changed much now that you sort of got older?
Yeah, from a young age, it was always Carl Frampton. You know, I think everyone's was Carl Frampton, you know, from Belfast. Like, he was just, don't think there will ever be another Carl Frampton. Like, but as I got older, you know, when he sort of retired and stuff, you know, the likes of Anto and Big Potty too, you know, the last few years, just even see what they're doing. Opened my eyes, because flipping two great fellas, you know, obviously Potty down at the gym, and I can relate to him too, you know. 6 in the morning, I see him, he's working, you know, he goes, does his sessions. Sometimes when I go to the gym, you know, he's there at 9 o'clock working, you know. But same with Anto, like, you know, last few years he's really put the head down, and as you've seen the results he's got.
It's two probably the ones I've got the closest to, and obviously in boxing is Potty and Anto, and as you say, they're probably the two biggest gentlemen you'll ever meet. Hard working, they're honest, like, and they've both obviously come through, probably to yourself, or, you know, haven't come through everything plain sailing. Like, obviously Potty turned late pro, 28, 29. Anto, obviously a career obviously riddled with nobody would fight him. Took obviously Sean McComb to actually get him a fight with Michael McNeasy for his career to kickstart. So, like, in some ways you can probably relate to them, and the fact that they're hard working, they've come through trials and tribulations, but they're having success now.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you know, I'll say, like, the likes of Big Potty, you know, Anto too, everyone starts at the small hall shows, you know. Unless you, as people say, you get a big medal, you know, then the big promotions comes, but they've started from the bottom, you know, and made their way up. Now they're reaping the rewards.
At what age did you obviously make the decision that sort of the Olympics wasn't for you, you know, and obviously it was a pro sort of approach? Was it seeing maybe the rise of Carl Frampton being a world champion? Like, did you relate more to professional boxing than you did to amateur boxing?
I think I related more to professional boxing, you know. Amateur boxing, I hated just the way it was, you know, like, every fight you weighed in the morning, you know, you killed yourself to make the weight, then you had the fight 3 hours later, then you had to weigh in the next day, fight again, you know. You weren't getting your, you know, your best self, you know, in the ring. Like, I hated, that was the worst thing. I hated that, like, weighing in every fight and fighting a few times a week, stuff like that.
I guess obviously now as a professional, obviously you'd probably be lucky to maybe fight once a month. You know, obviously if you do a John Boyd approach, you maybe fight twice in 8 days sort of thing, but you're not sort of making weight and fighting nearly sometimes the same day. Like, you mentioned obviously 6 months ago you sort of made the decision that the sort of pro approach was coming. Like, did you sort of, other than your parents, did you sort of confide in people in the gym, like, is this the right move for me?
Yeah, it's his first person I said to was Michael. I said to Michael about going pro, and he was all for it. You know, it's really the reason why I'm sitting here now is, you know, he got everything set up for me. You know, flipping, met with a manager, Paul. He got everything sorted. You know, so grateful.
And obviously Paul, Reddy, and STN Sports. Like, what was it that came about there? Was there any other offers on the table from anybody else? I guess sometimes you don't want to mention that other people were interested, but was there any other offers for you when the window was guessed open by Michael to say, we've got an 8-time Irish champion that's turning pro? Was there any other offers sort of there for you?
Well, not really. We sort of just, you know, kept it quiet. Didn't really want to tell too much people, you know. Then because even with, you know, Paul, you know, he's you know, it's a really good fella to have in your corner, you know. So I was happy enough with. I'm actually grateful that Paul's my manager and with STN Sports, you know, because they're a great company. They've got the likes of Dalton Smith, you know, Skye Nicolson, like world champion. You know, they have loads of world champions. So likes of caoimhin and stuff. So
I was going to say caoimhin, obviously.
yeah, caoimhin too.
Obviously being from here as well, and I guess he's a good guy to sort of say what's SDN and Paul already like. I know caoimhin probably the last couple of years had injuries and setbacks and everything else, but you can see sometimes with the management they can still get them fights. Paul already started, I think, as a matchmaker for Matchroom.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And obviously he's got to the stage where he's managing fighters, and as you say, they're very good level. So you've chosen a good man to obviously have in your corner.
Yeah, as I say, and he's texted me every hour day, you know, just even seeing how I am, you know, just not even about boxing, just in general, just to see how I am, still training, you know, how's life going. Just a good guy, you know.
It's important, I guess, sometimes in picking someone. It's a good manager. You don't want to, you know, not sort of naming sort of anybody, but people have made choices of choosing a manager before and hasn't worked out, and they've moved about and left, right, and centre. Like you've chosen probably rightly in the way. Like did you confide in parents? Did you confide in other people? Did you see if it's the right person? But I guess some people, your family may not even know who he was.
No, it was sort of kept that all quiet too, you know. Just wanted to meet him for myself, you know. We went for a coffee and we all sat down, had a chat, and you know, he was a real great fella. You know, he's honest. He just put it out on the plate the way boxing was, you know. And it's not all sunshine rainbows. You know, you have to fight in the small hole shows, and you know, you don't go straight into the big promotions. You know, you have to build your way up, and sort of just talked everything. You know, where we can get to. You know, as I say, you have to take the rough with the smooth.
I spoke to obviously a few people obviously in turning pro, obviously just to get their thoughts, and even obviously from obviously the clips I put out, Anto was obviously saying you're very powerful and you can obviously go a long way in the sport. Like everybody seems to have obviously glowing references of you as an amateur. Like that obviously builds a lot of confidence for you as you start as a pro.
Yeah, it's nice to have, you know, people like that, you know, saying nice things about you. But everyone always says I had a good style for the pros. But as I say, just strong, you know. Not the only thing about amateur was it was very high paced, you know. But I was even sparring the other night, and see, just even slowing the pace down, it just suits me way more. See, after 3 rounds, I would have been busted in amateurs because it's literally like a sprint. But like the other day, we did 4 rounds sparring, and after it was fine, you know, because it was a slower pace. You know, you're picking your shots more. Slow, you know, the feet are slower. You know, you get a lot more time to think.
A lot of people have obviously spoke to you, obviously, you know, that prospect of obviously changing over. Like you've been coming from a mirror of image of a fighter sort of standing in the pocket, skillful enough to yourself. Like the first couple of fights, you're not going to be fighting someone of the same level as you because you need to. If the stabilizer's on for a few fights, are you mentally adjusting yourself to the fact that you're going to be fighting someone that's probably going to throw 1 punch every time you throw 10?
Yeah, as I say, it's, you know, I've watched boxing flip my whole life. You know, that's the way everyone starts. You know, you've fight a few flipping journeymen at the start, and it's what you take out of them fights. You know, you can go in, you can look at it that way, like right, practice new things. You know, get the rounds in, but you just take it as it comes. Every opponent's different. You know.
I'm guessing obviously you've hit your knuckles now. The fact obviously it's a boxing term, obviously hit your knuckles. Like now you've turned pro, it's getting a debut date. Is there any obviously thing in the pipeline? I know there's a potential Conlan boxing show coming up now in the 1st of November. Potentially the 1st of November, obviously I don't want to break something in the date change. And someone's asking me to cover the hotel, but like, is there any potential news obviously of a debut coming up for you?
Hopefully I would love to get on the Conlan card, you know, on the 1st of November, as you just told everyone there. I'd love to get on it, you know, as I say, to have my debut in the SSE, you know, in Belfast, would just be amazing, you know. That would be a dream come true.
It's crazy to think it, obviously your idol, Frampton, obviously in his world title fights and building himself up in SSE, and you're going to do it in your debut.
No, it's mad to even think about, you know. It's crazy.
I'm guessing you're seeing obviously a lot of amateurs turnover this year. Like there's four made their debut obviously in the last card. Obviously Theo Allen as well. Like you know, you really can hit the ground running very quickly here, and you know, you can get a couple of fights very quickly before the end of the year. Like, are you planning maybe one before the end of the year, or maybe planning a couple?
No, it'd be good to get a couple, as I say, as much as I can get, you know. I'd flip and fight every month, you know, do a John Boyd, fight every week, if I could, you know. But as I say, just get the first one out of the way, then we'll go from there.
What can people expect, obviously, of yourself as you turn over? Like, everybody mentions the power, and you sort of mentioned I'm going to box, and then obviously the power can come later. Like, are you crafting a style that, you know, you're going to sort of break people down gradually over time? Like, you don't want to be, I guess in some ways, people said they Padraig at the start, like Padraig was just all power, knocking people out, and thought about his boxing technique. Like, do you want people to know that you're very skillful, very crafty before knockouts?
I'd say, like, boxing always comes first, you know. You're always then, any fights, even amateurs, I've went out and thought I was going to stop someone, you know. It never works out that way. It's the fights you go out and you box, then the stoppages always come, you know. I've always said that, even in sparring or anything, you know, if you're going out and trying to hurt anyone, it never works. It's only when you stick to your boxing, then it comes.
I guess the most important tool you're probably going to have, obviously, is your team. Like, obviously, you're still based here in Holy Trinity. I'm guessing there's still going to be a Holy Trinity connection in your team.
Yeah, I'd say Hawkins and Barry O'Neill are training me, so couldn't ask for two better people, you know. Trust them. My last few amateur fights, you know, Barry's trained me, and he's brilliant. I'd say he's training Anto too. He's a very, very good coach.
It's a great team for you to have. Obviously, Mickey's obviously been involved with Anto throughout his whole career, and obviously Barry's come onto the scene, and he seems to be a master technician, obviously, in the build-up and the preparation. Like, you know, it's crazy to think that you can keep that connection, but it's a team you know you can trust, which is a key commodity as you turn over.
Well, that's it. It's all about trust, you know what I mean? And I trust Mick and Barry in my life, because every time you get in the ring, you know, it's your life's on the line, especially in pro boxing. So no, I'm happy that they're there for me.
What sort of goals and ambitions do you sort of have? Like, obviously, you dreamed of being a professional boxer. Obviously, it's now very close to happening, and you're putting the gloves on for the first time. Where do you sort of see, you know, the next 6, 12, 18 months in boxing?
Well, next 18 months, I'd like to, you know, get as much facets as possible, you know, learn, adjust to the pro game. Then from there, you know, start picking up titles.
I don't want to sort of sometimes go, you know, 99% of people you interview and you go, where do you want to go in the sport? And they go, world titles, and people is going, there's only a small percentage get there. Not that they say that, Barry, I don't think you can be a world champion, but I don't want to put you in on the spot and on your first interview and go, where do you see yourself going? Because everybody's going to say they're reaching the top, but like, do you believe you could sort of get to world level?
No, yes, it definitely do. You know, to say, like, you wouldn't do it if you didn't think, you know, well, what other reason would you do it? No, I definitely do think, well, everything goes well, you know, a bit of luck, train hard, keep my head down, and I believe that I can become a world champion.
I guess the final sort of one for me is sort of on selling tickets and sort of promoting yourself. Like, these are probably commodities you sort of haven't had to do before. You sort of maybe had to put a post up and go, a fight such and such, but people didn't have to worry about buying tickets. Ticket selling is obviously a massive thing. Like, you seem to be a well-supported guy. Like, ticket sales isn't going to be a problem for you.
No, as I say, like, I put out the post about me going pro, and didn't even think I knew that much people, you know. And then everyone started sharing it. My phone blew up, like. So everyone asked me, oh, where can I buy tickets? You know, when's your fight? Even now, still, everyone texts me, like. But it'd be good to get a date and to see, you know, how much tickets can actually sell, you know.
You just imagine obviously what it's like for you making your debut in Anto, obviously becoming a world champion, beating Joe Cordina. Like, you couldn't turn over at a better time, and all the spotlights in this gym, everybody's been going, who else is turning pro? Like, perfect time for you in turning over.
No, that's it. Like, and flipping, I say Anto, he's a great fella, you know. It's someone I really look up to, and he teaches me a lot, you know. It's not even just the business side of boxing too, and just be yourself, you know. That's all he says, just be yourself, then the rest will come.
Final one, obviously, on sponsors. Obviously, sponsors play a massive part, and obviously they help you from fight camp to fight camp. Obviously, have you got any sponsors involved yet? Obviously, now you've broken news. I guess sometimes they want to know a date, sometimes before they part with money, but have you any sponsors involved yet?
No, that's it. I haven't even put anything up about sponsors because I haven't had a date, you know, but best mate, Harry Monaghan, Lee Canaan, shout out. He's
Yeah,
my
but
he's my,
surely-
he's my only sponsor. He, the first thing he said, he's a proper friend, you know. Was, first thing he's like, because he's his own business, you know, training dogs. He's like, I'll sponsor you. I'll be your first sponsor. So, shit it.
It's always the first one's the hardest one, but obviously when people know the talent and everything else like that, like you big Anto, obviously now people's trying to send you things and want to become sponsors. Like I'm sure it'll take you, you know, if everybody's talking about obviously how good of a boxer you are, it's not going to take people long to be in your DMs saying I want to sponsor you.
That's it. Like I'm not that type of like I flipping hate all that stuff. You know what I mean? I'd rather give someone something than flipping take it. Like
You would give somebody,
oh Jesus, I hate it. Like see my interviews, I flipping hate them. Like
but here you've the first one out of the way now. Obviously everything sort of stems from there. Obviously Theo Allen, obviously his first interview was done on Zoom. He wanted to do it straight away afterwards again because he didn't like it and wanted to do it again. And now he's flying at them. So,
no, Theo's interview was brilliant. Like it was very good.
but like
Shout out to Theo Allen.
it's one of them. You know, it's like boxing. Obviously, once you learn the rhythm of it, obviously it's easy. And as I say, you'll be judging your talents probably in the ring, not obviously your talents outside the ring. But look, we'll look forward obviously hearing you getting some fight news soon, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you. Obviously, once you do get some fight news.
Yes, cheers. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Barry. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.